welcome back for now to protesters from Just Stop Oil, who spent 11 days demonstrating in London, blocking roads, throwing paint at shops and restaurants. Today, a fire engine and an ambulance were briefly caught up in their blockade, prompting the British government to say this kind of protest isn't acceptable. Well, Jenny Cleveland's still with me. I'm joined by Talk TV contributor Richard Tice, and from Just Stop Oil, James Skeet. Mr. Skeet, welcome. Thank you very much for coming in. Appreciate it. At what point, when you're blocking fire engines and ambulances, are you concerned about lives being lost by what you're doing?
Well, the whole reason we're doing this is because we're concerned about the lives of the British
But you get the irony that if you're actually stopping ambulances and fire engines going to save people's lives, they may actually die because of your protest.
Well, actually, we have a blue light policy. We let through every emergency vehicle.
But you didn't, though,
and
did you?
if you actually cared to run the whole footage there, you'd see that that ambulance is advised by one of our people to avoid the roadblock. And
why don't you do the sensible thing and just get out of the way? You have absolutely no right to obstruct other people's daily lives. You have the right to protest on the side of the street. You are unlawfully in the middle of the street. It's utterly outrageous. It's selfish, and you are putting people's lives at risk.
I appreciate your frustration. I understand that. I empathise with that. But look, we are demanding that the government halt any new licensing and consents for any fossil fuel exploration in the UK. Now, you know that needs to happen. I know that needs to happen. It does need to happen.
It doesn't need to happen.
Look,
we need fossil fuels.
If we need to ensure...
There are billions of people living on this planet.
The United Nations and the International Energy Agency agree with me on this.
Leading longer, happier, healthier lives because of cheap energy from fossil fuels. You want to kill billions of people.
You can't get cheaper than free, all right? OK? Renewables are 9 times cheaper than fossil fuels.
Renewables are not free. We spend 15 billion subsidising renewables in this country.
We spend £236 million a week
subsidising
the fossil fuel industry.
Sorry, James.
What you're saying is a lie.
Just to bring you back, it's actually my show and I'm doing the interview with you.
I know, Piers. I'll happily talk to you.
Well jumped in, Mr. Tice. And by the way, he's not frustrated. He's furious, right? My question remains, though, with you. Where is your moral line with this? You say you want to save lives, and yet your actions are bordering on potentially costing lives. You cannot get in the way of emergency services in the way that you're doing. And if you do want to, explain the moral difference between what you're doing and what you complain everyone's doing about the planet.
Well, I mean, look, if we want to talk about disruption, earlier...
No, I want to talk to you about the... I want you to answer the question.
40 degrees C. Right. As a result of that, the Fire Brigade, the London Fire Brigade, had their busiest day since the Blitz, OK? 60 UK families lost their houses in wildfires. Why are we not talking about the big picture?
I understand.
Why are we concentrating on such a small bit of disruption?
You think it's small?
A bit of traffic disruption is nothing in comparison to what's coming, Piers, and you know it.
James,
you know it.
You think it's small? I say to you, you have no idea the damage you're doing when you get in the way of emergency services.
We have a blue light policy.
My question is,
no emergency vehicles being held.
Why are the lives of the people who you're putting at risk by stopping those fire engines?
Why are you manipulating your audience?
Let me finish my question.
Why are you misframing
Let me finish my question. Why are the lives of the people whose lives may be affected by your actions today, why are they less important to you than the lives that you say will be cost by not taking climate change more seriously?
I value everyone's life. We all value everyone's life. Absolutely.
Stop lying in front of emergency services.
For the record, I agree with you. I think it's ridiculous that it's down to nurses, doctors, bartenders and whatnot to be going out in the street and demanding what the government should just be doing anyway, right? This is a no-brainer.
Yeah, but James, just on the side. All right, let's bring in Jenny.
Because it wouldn't work.
Wait. OK, let's bring in Jenny.
Yeah, I think, and I don't want to speak for you, James, but I think a lot of these campaigns are to do with, it's a numbers game, that there may be a small number of people inconvenienced today, but they are looking at an existential threat way into the future, which will involve many more people. And the fact is, this protest is incredibly effective, Piers, because here we are, we're talking about it
Yeah,
now.
but I don't think it is, you see. Here's my argument with it. Listen, I'm happy to have James on. I've got nothing wrong with caring passionately about causes, right? I'm not saying I'm against your cause. I'm really getting against your methodology.
But it works, doesn't it?
I don't think it does.
Open a history book.
I don't think it does.
The suffragettes.
It doesn't work.
Were highly disruptive. Civil rights movement, highly disruptive. Gay rights, highly disruptive. You know it works. You're a journalist. You've done your research. You know this.
Let me finish.
We wouldn't be on here if this disruption hadn't happened, would we?
I don't think it works when you're lying in front of emergency services. I don't. You will lose the British public. And my concern for you is that you keep thinking any disruption is valid and any disruption works. And I'm saying to you, yes, you're on this show, but you're on this show because people are absolutely furious that you got in the way of ambulances and fire engines. And I say you can do both, can't you? You can make vociferous protests but you don't have to get in the way of things that are saving people's lives.
Why don't you tell your audience about the actual disruption that's coming down the line? Why don't you bring qualified climate scientists on here to explain what civilizational collapse looks like, all right? We've lost a third of our wheat yields this year. We're projected to lose 50% of our potato harvest. If it's this bad in 2022, how bad is it going to be in 2050? You know, if we have food shortages, that leads to riots and civilizational collapse. I'm sorry, but you're objectively wrong. You're objectively wrong, and you are lying. You are lying. Our wheat yields are down a third.
Agricultural yields across the whole of the world
40 degrees C in this country.
And it was lovely. It meant I didn't have to go abroad.
It hit 40... You deranged. It hit 40 degrees C.
Are you selfish? Why do you want to protest in front of people?
Because we have no choice. Because we're in a dire situation, and you need to pay attention to what's happening. Because at the moment,
on the side of the road.
At the moment, you are not paying attention to what's happening.
Absolutely paying attention.
I think there are a lot of people who would feel alienated by either side of this, and the kind of the dogmatic nature.
As I have learned myself, screaming at the other side rarely has the effect you think it does. It makes you feel better, and I've done it with people on various debates. It never actually works. You don't change anyone's mind by screaming at them.
But I think future generations will probably look back in shock and horror at our ability to turn away from something. I don't necessarily think that you will be winning over a lot of people that don't already agree with your cause with this. You will be getting your message out.
Are you going to carry on?
The issue,
James.
They'll hate us, but they'll be... What we're doing is forcing the issue to the forefront of the public consciousness.
I understand the issue is important, right? So I've got you on as well. Final question, though. Are you going to continue stopping emergency services going about their business?
We will continue until the government makes a meaningful declaration to halt any new licensing and consent.
You shouldn't be putting lives at risk.
Go to jail for breaking the law.
All right.
1 week.
I think you should educate yourself about the climate.
We've got to leave it there.